Hello, everyone. In the semi-woo world, this is Amanda
and Heather, and we're coming back at you for part 2 of our season opener, the Heather Files.
Welcome.
Amanda asked me, what I'd been up to when we were talking about opening this season up, and let's catch up and see what we're up to. I was like, have I been sleeping for 3 months? Like, what was I doing? I have nothing to show for it. I was dating my balls off.
Woo!
And that's actually going to be the theme of our show today. We have our best friend on the line, the great Sarah Perry. Hello, Sarah.
Hi. So excited to be here.
We've been partying with Sarah since what feels like the beginning of time.
Oh, God.
Running the streets of San Diego.
She's part of the...
Indeed.
Yeah, she's part of the Rattenkönig, which is our best friends in the whole world.
Yeah.
Shout out to Andrea.
Shout out to Andrea.
We'll be on eventually.
Oh, yeah.
What up, Kate?
Woo!
So we're talking online dating. I wanted everyone to start. Everyone right now, 1, 2, 3.
I can't. I did it. I started.
I wanted everyone to start with a personal history of their online dating because we're all in our mid-30s, so we didn't grow up with online dating, but I would say right in our 20s is when it started. Like there were inklings. You were weird if you did it, but it was there.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Amanda,
okay,
how did you jump? Oh yeah, Sarah.
Oh, I'm doing our guest first.
Okay, sure. I began my foray into online dating when I moved to Portland about 5 years ago, and I moved here with a significant other that I broke up with shortly after arriving, and so it was a way to meet people. But to be honest, I was mostly intrigued by the game that seemed to come to life with Tinder. It was mostly fascinating at first, and just getting to kind of have this passive experience. I don't know if you guys remember, it used to pull from your Facebook. So you didn't really have to try super hard. You could do this passive, apathetic, it was basically a game, like I said, that came to life by way of dates if you wanted them. And I liked that it didn't have to try super hard, and also just that it was a way of just getting out and meeting people and kind of spending time when you were in at home, and to see people that were living within 5 miles of you.
That's a big reason, when we think about why people would online date, there is this, you could break it down to a million subsects, but one of the big ones is, I want to see the town. I want to get out and meet interesting people. Like when you've moved to a new city, make some connections, find out new bars, go dancing, like have somebody to do an activity with. And that's super common.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Certainly. And it's what you make of it. I got this, there was the sort of rumor or the idea that it was a hookup site or app, and I really got the feeling it was really whatever you made of it. If you wanted friends, you put that. If you wanted to hook up, you put that. If you wanted to see where things were going, I liked the versatility and the flexibility of it.
Yeah.
Totally.
I'm digging that. Amanda, what's up with you?
Oh, Lord. Well, unlike Sarah, I feel like I've had much more experience in the online dating world. It's funny when you ask me kind of my history, I had to think back in the annals of time, as it were, because I think I started with OkCupid in San Diego. And I must have met a few people on there. It's very hard to remember, but my most vivid memory was moving to Seattle about 7 years ago. And very similar to Sarah, I knew Heather, but I really didn't know anyone. And I was at a point in my life where I was just ready to have a boyfriend. So within a few weeks, I met basically a boyfriend. We went on a few dates and ended up dating for quite a while. He's now my good friend, Adam. We're no longer dating, but we are good friends. And so that was actually a positive experience for me, other than having to delete, 50 like, hey, sup, girl emails a day, for really, really just people that made you feel bad about yourself. So that was OkCupid. And then Tinder for me, mainly was something I used a little bit in Seattle and then in New York. So as we get into talking about these different sites, Tinder in New York, and maybe it was just more New York itself, it's a little bit harsh. It was very harsh. And it definitely was way more of a hookup type app because that's just all I really had in New York. I didn't ever meet anyone of any significance there, and that seems to be a common theme. But yeah, I tried Match once. I think I had a free trial. I tried it for like 10 days, and then they wanted to charge my credit card, and I'm like, no way. Mm-hmm. I just couldn't commit the money. But that's my personal history with dating.
Right. That brings up well, I'll tell my quick personal history. It was kind of the same as Amanda. I moved to Seattle, and I guess it has some of Sarah's story in there too. I moved to Seattle and I was new. So, you sit at home on the weekends enough and you're like, I want to go out. You just want to go out with somebody and be out on the town. So I thought that I also was at this time in my life, I had just moved back from Mexico. I was like, I want a boyfriend. So I had this like double agenda going, but I wasn't like, I saw this on someone's profile on Tinder. They said, I'm casually looking for something serious. And I really liked that. Like, I was having fun, like, dating around and bebopping, no problem. But I did have a mission to find a boyfriend at the end of the day. But until that happened, I was going to bebop. And I think that, like, brings us into where I think a lot of the frustration and confusion with online dating comes from is people's intention with it. And after dating for the last 3 months very heavily, I realized if you know what you want and are looking for, or the closer you can get, the easier you'll find it. Do you guys agree or disagree?
Yes. I totally agree because I think that people expect these apps or websites to kind of like do the work for them, right? They're like, oh, I just signed up for this thing and I'll just meet people. Mm-hmm. You see that a lot. People are like, I don't know what I'm doing here. Like, I guess I'll give this a try. Like as if it's just like, I don't know. And,
you tell me. You're like, you tell me, app. Right? You tell me what I want. Like,
yeah, it's like, I don't know.
Show me some girls and I'll decide.
Right. Yeah, so I think kind of like Sarah said, you start it as this game, right? Like it's this fun kind of, and it's actually, from a software perspective, a lot of them are set up in a game-like fashion, right, to get you to, like, click a lot and see the most people and look who's in your neighborhood and to get you to, like, stay on the website. So it's kind of hard to know what your intention is when you feel like the app or the website is this just kind of, like, game thing that you do for 20 minutes a day.
It does feel like you do it for 20 minutes a day. It's like, okay, I eat lunch, I work out, I Tinder, I file my taxes. You know what I mean? It's like something you do during the day just to like update, your matches and keep everything in order.
Right.
And while that's fun and it's really fun to play the Tinder game. It feels like, I don't know, like a little slot game or something. That's another big problem is it starts commoditizing people. It really, I saw this term on this NPR article. I didn't make this up. It's relation shopping. And it's shopping for a connection like you would an item. And it does feel that way. Like you're and you can start discounting. You're like, I don't like those buttons. I don't like the fur trim on that. I don't like it's a coat. And
we don't meet people like that in real life. No. We meet people as a whole person. And maybe after a while you start to notice details or this or that. But when we meet people in person, they don't just stand in front of us silently and wait for us to judge them. You know what I mean? Right. Which is kind of how it feels on these sites. Like you get to be like, okay, here's this person. What do I think about everything about them? It's so different than the way we meet other human beings in real life. And I think that's where so much of, at least for me, the confusion and the kind of bad feelings I've had toward it eventually over time have come from. Is that, but I wanted to hear what Sarah thought, like kind of, what has been your experience with your intention, or have you had things where it's like your intention was very different from someone else, or what's been your experience with that?
I was thinking about that, how when you meet people in real life, your intention is much more clear. If you're out at a bar and you meet someone and you're I think you're cute, and that intention is much more clear. And when you're doing that online dating, the swiping, the game, you don't know that the person on the other end is if they're just playing the game for their 20 minutes or they're looking for something. So I think when I played back in the day, I think it really was that I wanted to get out and meet people. I didn't have a lot going on socially, so I think I was extremely responsive. And I think how that's changed for me, I was then in a relationship for a few years in between, and recently fired it back up again. And what I found was actually the administrative effort was becoming way too much, and trying to uphold this, I want to uphold this honesty and good intention and being clear with my intentions and not ghosting, and that became really difficult. I think this second time around, now that I am established here and I do have a social life and I have other friends, that I'm already trying to make sure that I respond to all of their text messages and make sure I nurture those relationships and plan things. Yeah. And it just became this second time around. What I found was like, oh wow, my intention is still, I'd still love to meet somebody. I am still single. However, I just don't have the administrative bandwidth to be responding. Also, there's push notifications now on the app, so it's the kind of thing where I think the intent or the expectation is that you're responding to things more quickly, and that's not necessarily the case. It's not. I don't want to be like on an instant message type situation, and so I actually did end up deleting it again.
That's what I would do. I would go on and take it off.
It was just too much.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
The amount of times I've taken it on and off my phone.
How many times have you downloaded it and taken it off? I wish I knew.
So many. It used to be when I would visit you, Sarah, in Portland, I just fired up in other cities. So like if we were in LA or Portland, I'd be like, let me see these Portland dudes. Let me see what's going on in LA. And you just like tickle a little bit, but you don't, without the intention of like, I don't know. I just wanted to play the game. Like that's what it, you just wanted to see who likes you. What's disturbing?
But in your own city,
right?
You want that intention to be clear, and I want to be there and be, if I match someone, I want to like engage and I want to like come through, and I was having a hard time upholding that standard that I had set. So,
did you find that when you would match people that were interesting, that you wouldn't hear from them? This is a common thing that happens a lot of time.
No.
Oh, must be nice. Okay, Sarah's fine.
Oh yeah, must be nice, Sarah.
Okay.
What about you?
For me, I would match people, like get a bunch. I do pretty well on Tinder. And the part of this NPR article I read also listed that Asian men and Black women have the lowest return of likes and connections.
I heard that.
Wow.
So
I must have read the same thing.
So yeah, that bummed me out. But I have a cute face. I'm also 6'3", so I feel like I'm getting like an interesting swath of like dudes that like my profile. But I feel like I would match interesting people, and I always say hey to everyone I match with. I always have a little line or something like that, something that I read in their profile, because I don't know other people, when I'm going through, I look at the picture. Yes, I make a split second decision there. But then if I like their picture, I read their profile always. And if I don't like their profile, like I swipe left, or I'm looking at my fingers, left. I went on a date the other day, a Tinder date, and he said it's almost the opposite for dudes, that they pretty much just swipe right, like split second, even if they quasi like somebody. Yep. Then when they get the matches returned, then they start making decisions. That is how I found out I was matching all these dudes. So I was getting past the looks test, like the quick first picture. They hardly even go through pictures, dude. They hardly even swipe through picture. It's like picture one, baby. You better have your picture one on lock, ladies.
Get so few matches. Yeah, they get so few matches. There's even like some sort of a thing I was reading somewhere where you can install like a piece of software onto your phone that just will auto match everybody, every whatever it is, 20 minutes or something, that you're allowed to do that. And so, and then guys go through, they see who their matches are, and then they look at the picture.
So if any women is, go ahead.
If you weren't getting matches, that would make sense, right? If you doing this and get 0 matches. I'm just going to run this auto match thing and then come back tomorrow and see who matched me, I guess.
Yeah.
Whereas girls were like, oh, we automatically assume in our head, like, if I swipe right and I like look at his profile and look at his picture, like, you know, that means that I like him, therefore we match or something. You know?
Oh, I feel liberated.
He likes me, I like you. Yeah. We should be dating. Why aren't we dating? Why aren't you saying hi to me? We matched. It's meant to be.
Right.
You're my husband.
So different. It's so different.
That was depressing,
wow.
like right off the bat, right? It's like matching people that I thought were interesting, like their profile, and never hearing from them. Or you chat for like a little bit and then you never hear from them. So that was like a very odd thing to me to kind of get over and not take it personal. I think that's like rule number 1 if we want to build like online dating rules. Like, don't take anything personally. You don't know the person on the other side. As many pictures have you seen of them? All 5. You don't know this person.
Right. So Heather, I have a question for you. Word on the street is that you did meet someone online dating and you maybe are still dating them? Yes,
that's
no?
True.
I want to hear the story. This is an episode
that's jumping ahead of a million steps, but I am dating somebody right now.
Let's hear some success stories.
Yeah, dude, I have some success stories. Can I pull out some not success stories first? Can we talk about the road to success? So I want to kind of talk with you ladies about like, I think it'd be really great because some people don't know what they're looking for when they are online dating. And I had this thought the other day that a lot of times what you're looking for is completely based in the person you're talking about. So like, is it fair to make an intention or a goal like when you online date? Because for instance, I kind of started marathoning dating. I went with like a numbers perspective, like it's a numbers game. I actually wanted to find somebody to date. And I thought if I went on more dates and met more people, my chances would be better, right? That's math. And I noticed that with each person, I wanted a different type of relationship or no relationship with each person. So how can do you make the intention first or do you meet the person and then decide?
That is tough. And it's also, you don't want to over-explain in your profile. You know, you don't want to be like, if I meet you and we like each other physically, but not in another way, then I want to hook up. If I meet you and, you know, it's like you don't want to explain all of that.
If I meet you and you're nice, but I don't think you're cute, we can't go to the farmer's market, but we can have sex. If I meet you and you're cute and you're not good in bed, we can be friends. If I meet it's weird.
That one's true.
Like, it takes knowing the person to know what you want to do with them. This is where I thought, all right, then you do need a fucking goal. Because you can't just have all these people and you meet them and you're like, you're in this box, you're in this box. That takes a lot of time. It's like, know what you want. And the minute you know you don't want that with that person, you tell them what's up.
Sure. The apps are just to connect you.
It's just an introduction
after that,
service.
you're now in a you're in a relationship with air quotes after that.
Right.
You know, whatever that relationship is. But then you have all the communication tools available to you. That's just helping you make the connection.
But I feel like people still operate like they're online, like with this anonymity. This is where ghosting comes in. Because I'm sure everyone's been... Have you guys been ghosted? Everyone's been ghosted, right?
Oh my gosh, so many times. Well, I don't know about so many times, but I don't even, honestly, I think New York was the place, like I said before.
New York, for sure.
It happened to everyone. Everyone I've talked to there and since then who's lived in New York, everyone it's happened to.
Well, when you're a commodity, you're not human. Like, you can just drop someone.
Yeah, right. And that's, also there, like, not only is it, it's the worst. It happens after like maybe a first date or a first encounter, not the end of the world. But when it happens, if you've seen someone a few times and you've, like set up third dates or something, that's when you start to be like, okay, this is when I start to feel like not a human being. You know, it's no longer anonymous. It's no longer, I just met you and I don't like you. It's like, okay, wait, we've been on a few dates. So those ones, it only happened to me once or twice where it was like, we were talking, we went on 2 dates, and he's like, they set up the next date, and I really like you, and I want you to come to this, and it's moving forward in a pretty solid progression.
Right.
and then they just disappear off the face of the planet.
Deep ghost. Deep
and
ghost.
I've with having exchanged phone numbers, or is this ghosting from the app?
Oh yeah.
Oh no, this is met in person, dude.
No, phone numbers, maybe sex, maybe not. Yeah, like totally, like actually, like dating. Like we are going on a few dates. We date.
That boggles my mind. It's like, don't make me look online and see if you died. I have Googled people's names. Like, did they die? Like, we went on a date. We were talking. No indication. No indication. I think you're dead. And that was in New York, and that's when I kind of got hip to like, oh my God, people actually do this. Like, you can be not human to someone. I totally get with in-app. I've done that too. I think you're allowed to. If you've met someone in person, dating rule number 2, the next one, don't ghost anybody. It's so much less painful for everyone to just, you're allowed to not like people. To just say, I'm not feeling it. Good luck in the dating world. I've had that happen to me, and it's a relief. Of course it burns for 2 damn seconds, but you know what burns and aches longer is being ghosted. It's cruel. It's cruel and unusual.
Yeah. But I think all of us have done it to people. I know we have.
When I was younger.
I've not
when I was
done
younger,
it.
yeah.
I've not done it via text message, no. But on the app, sure. Like that's part of the reason sometimes I leave the relationship when they've been like, send me your number. I'm like, I kind of like that I can get out of this.
You're allowed to do that in app, I say. If you've met somebody, you don't fucking ghost somebody, dude.
Hell no.
And I've called people out, actually. I think I sent you guys texts. Like, I called out a dude that ghosted me, and he wrote back a really nice thing. And was like, I'm really sorry. You're right. That's shitty. And I wrote him back like, yo, dude, no worries, but I'm a human. I have feelings. We met. And this is what you do to keep the dating world nice and cushy and fun. Like, we're all trying to have a good time out here.
Right.
Everybody wants to get laid. Everybody wants to date somebody. Everyone wants to make a connection. You don't have to ghost somebody. We can all have fun. We're all adults. But I think what you think this is what I think, is when I tell somebody that I don't want to date them, is that they're going to be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Fuck you, like something like that, like get mad at me or like escalate it. I don't know why. It never happens that way. It probably never will unless I date a psychopath.
Well, do you know where I think that maybe comes from? That fear is, one, the natural kind of fear that like a lot of women have of men, of being like scary or violent or stalky or whatever, right? And then also that comes from catcalling, right? Like if someone's like, hey girl, what's up? And you're like, oh no thanks. And they're like, yeah, you stupid bitch, I hate you anyway. It comes from that fear of like, if you speak your truth to someone and you say like, no thanks, I don't like you, that they're gonna like get crazy.
Yeah.
And I've had that feeling too, where you're like, I just don't want you to get crazy, so I'm just gonna like walk away slowly and turn into a ghost.
Dude, and that's probably some sort of deep down indoctrination of women feeling at many levels like they have to like please a dude, or like we have to be nice to men because they like went out with us. Like we have to be, the nice pleasing woman that doesn't rock the damn boat.
Of course.
Or that we're being presumptuous that by saying like, oh hey, I don't see this going anywhere. And that they would say something like, "Oh, I didn't want to be
right.
Either.
I don't want to hear that.
Anyway,
yeah.
Or that.
Oh God.
Right.
You're like, motherfucker, so you lied to me. You didn't feel that way.
and then you like scroll up on your text messages, and right before that he was just like, I really love you, and I really think
can't wait for day 4.
You're so special. I didn't like you anyway. Whatever.
Dude, I went on another date with somebody because I, decided not to ghost them. And they kind of like guilted me into another date. So that's another reason why ghosting is an option. Cause you're like, like I'm on the fence already with this person. Like, I don't know. And that's like breadcrumbing. This is what I saw in this article too. And this is, my brother was talking about this, is when you string someone along with no intention of dating them. So like you get like just enough text to be like, yo, what's up? Yeah. Breadcrumbing is the long con of ghosting.
I've done that.
Right.
I've done that.
It's also when you like
for avoidance.
Yeah.
I have.
Built-in avoidance. I have too. Like they text you like 8 times and you just be like, hey, or something. Like you just send like one every
How's
now
your
and
day?
Then. Right. Oh my gosh. But it's usually when you don't have any other options and you're like, well, I don't know if I hate them.
You're like waiting to
really
see if
like
something else
them.
pops off on Tinder before like engaging.
Yeah.
Or you like don't really know how you feel, or you're like kind of waiting for them to be super gung-ho to like bring up, like if you're super into it, maybe I can get there. But if you're not, oh no. I think that one's even more
like
cruel.
It is cruel. But, a lot of us have done this, I think, too, as women, when, like, we know that our instincts tell us after the first date or so that we're not really into this person or we're not attracted to them. But they're, like, really nice, or, like, they planned this nice date. They're so sweet, blah, blah, blah. They brought flowers. So you're trying to give them, like, to, like, reward their behavior with a date or something. You know what I mean?
Or with attention. Be like, well, you did it so well.
With attention. Yeah, like you don't want to date them, but you want them to keep dating because they're like, I don't know.
Be like, stay in there, champ. You did good. Because I do want to reward good dudes, but
but not with me.
And in that moment, I feel like, and this has happened at least once, where then I've honored that with then a very direct, honest letdown. And it's been received well in my experience.
Yeah.
And I've gotten some really good responses back.
I've never gotten a shitty response. Like,
I haven't either.
I did get one, like you were saying, where they were like, "Oh, I didn't want to date. I just wanted to be friends." I was like, "Okay, yeah." That's it. But like everyone has appreciated. I have appreciated every time. There's no reason to ghost. Breadcrumbing is like you're getting up the nerve to ghost. I feel like you're working your way towards it. And you're trying to see if maybe it'll just come up. But it probably won't.
Right.
There's all these...
kind of like what Sarah said is when you're just like overwhelmed with the administrative side of it and you have this busy life and these busy days and you're like, I'm not ready to have the like breakup message with you yet. So I'm just going to like breadcrumb you for like a week until I can deal with it. That's how I feel.
Until maybe I fade from your memory as being a girl that you'd like to date. Like I always think that'll happen. Like you just kind of let it fester and then maybe they'll be over it too. Right. Because like honestly, dude, I still can hardly do this. Like, okay, so when I was dating a bunch, of course I'm dating people. I'm never going to see them on a date too. I was squeezing in dates like right before I had to go to work because I knew I didn't want to like, I'm not going to sleep with like every person I'm dating. So I would just have these coffee dates because also it costs a lot of money to date. So you got to be efficient. And, they like have a blast because I'm a great date. And they're like, oh, like we should do this again. And I still don't quite have the balls to in person, face to face, right? When they say, let's do this again, to say, I think I'm good. Have a nice day.
Nope.
Can't do it.
Nope.
Not there.
Nope.
Can't do it.
No way.
Can't do it.
No way.
No.
Not happening.
No, can't.
Yeah, I'm going to see you again.
I wanted
Absolutely.
to so bad. No, it can't even, the words cannot come out of my mouth.
Nope.
I seriously will be like, absolutely, definitely.
The less I want to see you, the more enthusiastic I sound.
I've been on bad dates. I've been on bad dates where I feel like both of us knew that there wasn't going to be another date, and it'd be like, okay, so I'll call you. Like, okay.
It's what you do.
And neither of us contact. That wasn't online. That was an IRL actually very recently. Like an IRL date that went terrible, and then it was just like, and I think we both knew it, and we were both like, he's like, okay, you want to see me again? I'm like, yeah, sure. And then neither of us contacted each other.
Yeah, had it.
Oh.
Wow. Yeah,
I had it. You're supposed to do that.
Like, no. I will tell you, the closest I've ever come to that, and I was like so proud of myself for so long, was that I'd met a guy somewhere online. I don't know, a dating site. And I did something we're going to talk about here soon, which is I was like, let's just, instead of texting each other, let's just have a phone conversation, right? Like, let's just get it out there. I wasn't doing anything that night. And he's like, okay, I'm up for that. So we start talking on the phone, and which this is a great reason to talk to someone on the phone. Everything from his profile was like he seemed super confident and he had his life together and he just seemed like this great guy. But on the phone, he was self-deprecating, and everything he said was like, well, that's because like you're super cool, and like I'm not. And he was just putting himself down so much. And so we're going on this conversation, and I literally stopped it in the middle of a sentence, and I was like, hey, dude, whatever his name was. I just feel we're not having a connection, and honestly, I'm looking for someone who doesn't just think that I'm cool, but also thinks that they're cool. And he's like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, you've done nothing but put yourself down and kind of like talked badly about yourself. I'm not sure if you're aware of that. So I'm just going to go ahead and go. And he was just like, okay. And it was just one of those things where I was honest with him, and I said, like, I don't want to talk to you anymore. I definitely don't want to meet you. So I've only done it on the phone, but I've never done it to someone's face, and I hope to be brave enough one day to do that to someone's face.
You know what? I'm thinking back. One of my dates, I think I did it on a date, but here's the problem, and this goes in hand with this phone thing, right? So when I'm online dating, I think it's very important to get to an in real life IRL date as soon as possible and not sit and talk online and I heard some mostly women say, oh, I want to get to know them. You don't get to know somebody on text. It's like, no, it's not an effective form of communication and introduction. It is really just to set up a time and place so that you can meet in person.
Agreed.
And if you can pick up a phone, like you said, Amanda, that gets you a step closer. And that takes some fucking balls. I'd rather date somebody than talk to them on the phone.
Me too.
I would rather meet someone in person than talk to them on the phone. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's weird. So I don't know why that is.
But what's interesting is like, it's kind of like when I don't know if you guys have ever been to like a nude beach or been anywhere where people are naked, and you think in your head that you're going to be awkward for like 2 hours. And then you get there and you're awkward for maybe like 5 minutes, and then you're just like, oh, that's how phone calls are.
It's
like
so true.
You think it's so weird for so long, and it's either you connect or you don't. Like it's actually a great way to see if you like someone. And if you do, you have this great conversation, and then the date is natural. And if you don't, it's a really easy way to be like, well, I didn't just waste a whole date on this person.
Yes.
So it's actually a great idea.
And if some guy has the balls to like pick up a phone and talk on the phone, that's a good sign. And it might be a great way to set up a date, like use it as that. It's like, okay, well, I'll call you tomorrow and we'll talk about where we're going. Because when you talk to somebody on the phone and hear their voice, all of a sudden, all the flipper flutter of online dating where no one's human until you've heard their voice or see them goes away. And you have actually had a conversation with someone. It's way less easy to flake. The dates are set in stone. I've had dates where the person's like, oh, I didn't know we were going to do that. Or like, I go back in my text, it says Wednesday, 2 p.m., this place. Oh, we made plans. But because it was on text, it's just nothing. But yeah, if you can talk to someone on the phone, like, it happened, dude. You can't be flaky. And that's a big thing with online dating. It feels so flaky sometimes. So anyways, I had this situation where I met somebody online. We had a connection. I wanted to meet them. They were sick. And so we weren't going to get to go on a date to the next week. Well, we spent the whole week texting. And that texting turned into sexting. So before you know it, when you start talking to someone long before you meet them, it gives this impression of intenseness, like faux closeness. And when we met on our first date, I feel like it was even weirder because this is the worst thing. Expectations were made. Expectations were made. And the more expectations you bring onto a date, the more disappointed and confused I feel like you'll feel. And when we met, like, we were very sexually compatible by sexting, which is like the dorkiest thing I've said today. And on the date, it was just like dead air. It was, or not dead air. It was just, okay, I'm not gonna lie. He had a really high voice and it was a major, it was a turn off. It was a total turn off. And
can you do an impersonation? I want to hear, like, can you impersonate him?
It was kind of like this. Oh, no, that's what it's kind of like this. And he was like a bear, right? Like this Northwest 6'2" beard, bigger guy. And then he had this really like high voice. And the way he was sexting was like BDSM level, like, I want to pound you and da-da-da-da. So I had this voice in my head and I'm like, this dude's not gonna pound me. Like, he can't do anything to me. And it just turned off that sexual part, but we had a great date, right? And at the end of that date, we had 2 drinks and we picked the worst spot to go on a date. The lights were too bright. It was a quiet place. Like, it was all wrong. And I told him that I wanted to kind of end the date, right? Like, I actually did. I was like, I'm not feeling a connection. He was stunned. He was stunned. He had felt a connection. And as kind of a last ditch thing, he brought up, well, when we were sexting, I thought we would have really good chemistry. And I was like, damn, I thought that too. And we did end up, I had to find out. So we did end up hooking up because I was like, well, let me see if that sexting, if that's true. Terrible. Here's why. Because I took this guy home under the premise of like, if you don't fuck me right, you're done. It was like an audition. That's not cool. And so he like couldn't perform, right? So he's like, it just went totally wrong. I felt so bad. We just kind of laid back and we're hanging out and talking. And then all of a sudden he like jumps my bones and we have this really intense hot sex. Like, I guess he just needed to like, the air needed to be clear, no expectation, whatever. We didn't end up dating though because the feelings that I felt at our date were real. And I feel like if we hadn't have had that sexting time, if we hadn't had that, I wouldn't have gone home with him. Duh. I wouldn't have known anything about our sexual chemistry. And honestly, it wasn't a huge chemistry. It was hot, but I feel like it's because like if you've been sexting somebody for a week, it could be pretty hot. So I thought then and there, like, it's better just to get into real life and let things unfold. And that's hard to take because sometimes you just really want to jump ahead when you meet somebody that you kind of like. And that kind of brings me to where I am now, where I've met somebody who I actually met in the midst of like that whole thing. And what's really frustrating is having to like just watch where it goes and not try to predict or steer or even like maybe put a roadblock in getting to know somebody the regular way, which is hanging out with them.
And letting it unravel naturally.
Yeah. Well, unravel. It feels like an unravel. I would say it's an unfold.
The funniest thing I remember, Heather, is like, I think we were talking a little while ago and you're like, oh, like, I think I like this guy, and every time I see him, we have a really good time, and, but he's definitely not for me forever. We're probably going to date for like 2 months. And then it was like all these things, like, and then this, and then this. And it was so funny because you'd been dating like 2 weeks.
I know. I'm
specific. I know, but it's like you have to know the future. But that's what's so crazy about falling in love or liking someone is like when you do, it's that free falling vulnerability of like, I have no idea where this is going to go. You have no idea.
I have no idea.
Like there's no way of knowing.
And it's fun and it's nice, but I was rapid fire dating for so long and in and out and then all of a sudden you meet somebody and he by no means is he like, I think people have this idea that when they meet somebody that they could potentially marry or fall in love with, that they know right away. And I always thought that. And honestly, my first boyfriend, I felt that way. And I'm really trying to get that out of my head. It's kind of screwing with me that you should have this like Disney style spark and feeling. But should you? I don't know.
I don't think so. I think it's like it's some of the things like some people do, some people don't. I think that's if you ask people who've been together a long time, like some are like, I knew right away. And other ones say like, oh, we were friends for a while and then we dated someone else and then we, like they have a longer story. So it's kind of like 50-50, it seems like. I don't know. What do you think, Sarah?
Yeah. I mean, I think that you've seen that triangle before, right? Like the not compassionate love, but it has like the 3 prongs of like the different types of love and like how they overlap. And I don't know. I don't know where I stand on that, to be honest. And the myth of romantic love. Yeah. Jury's out on that.
Like, we have so much fun, and he checks, like, so many of these, like, badass boxes that I would want somebody, like, ladies, like, karaoke. He be dancing. He knows how to host. He gets along with my friends. He's freaking beautiful. It's like, the sex is insane, having the best sex of my life. Side note, there's a few things that I said with intention, like ceremony style, that I wanted to do, and one was have amazing sex in my 30s after years of really crappy sex in relationships and out of them.
Yeah.
And I said I wanted to kind of do a cuffing season situation where I wanted to have a winter boyfriend. So, 2 birds, 1 stone. But when you have, you know, we all joke about cuffing season, which is where like you like kind of date somebody in the cold winter months to keep you company and keep you warm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've heard this.
Yes. This is big in New York. And it makes sense because then when summer comes on, it's like everyone's in short skirts and hanging out, and it's just like easier to be single because you can run around. But when I think about dating beyond that, you kind of have to, you don't have to, but you wonder. One wonders where something's going.
Right.
But you can't, I don't know, there's nothing I can do to like speed up or slow down where this thing is going. So it's been very nice to just this is where I was coming in the last few dates that I had, is like, I'm just going to go on these dates and not try to find a boyfriend, not trying to find a husband, not wait. I think a lot of us do this, is we wait for the wrong thing to come up and go, nope. Oh, they said that thing. No. Yeah. Oh, they made this spelling error. No. Mm-hmm. Oh, they cut their hair. No. Oh, their job's not this. No. Just to get perspectives, right? Like stories, like just to like for 2 seconds walk into someone's life. Like I met this dude. He's older. I knew I had to go on a date with this dude because I knew it was going to be a good story. I knew I wasn't going to date this dude. So we go, it's one of my quick coffee dates, and we're on the coffee date, and he's all, just so you know, if we decide to enter into a physical relationship, I will need to see a doctor's note that you just had an STD test and everything must be clear. And that should be within 10 days of when we, he didn't say coitus, but it was the type of situation where he would have said coitus. And he's like, what did he say? I didn't have sex until I was, 30. And I take it very seriously. And I'm like, oh my God, this is such a case. I turn around, no doubt. Dan Savage sitting right there. Dan Savage sitting behind me at the coffee shop where I'm having a date with the world's weirdest dude. And I'm like, are you getting this? He was typing. I was like, I'm going to look in his articles and see if he like writes about some weird ass couple that was at a coffee shop. But I thought like, this is a moment in my life, like whether I'm trying to find someone to date or make a connection or not, that's like interesting and fun. And I'm hearing about this dude that it turns out has trouble with relationships and is trying to find his way with online dating. He's a little older. He kind of felt out of sorts. And it was just an interesting moment to share. And that's how I'm kind of seeing dating this person is, every time I hang out with them, it's fun. I learn more about them each time. They keep surprising me. I try my hardest to put this motherfucker in a box, and it just can't happen. Because every time I hang out with them and really apply myself and really try to see them as a person and not as my future boyfriend or future husband, I get to learn more and more. It takes all the pressure off when you look at somebody just as a person that you enjoy being around, that makes you happy and you have fun with, and not, could this be my boyfriend? Could this be my husband? Which I think what I was doing in the beginning.
Limiting. I mean, even just those words. I mean, oh my God, like how limiting the span of human relationships to have to make someone. I think that's as we get older, you know, how people like in their 40s and 50s, it's weird to be like, this is my boyfriend. How you just kind of feel, you're like, this is like, that's why I think the word partner just describes everything. Yeah. It's like, I don't know, they're just my partner. And I get that it could be, you know, homosexual, it could be your life partner, it could be your husband, it could be anything, but I don't know, partner, I think as I get older, I used to think was like only what like frou-frou, woo-woo older people said.
Right.
I was like, oh, this is my partner. But I think as you get older, it does become, that. I mean, that's what I want, is like, I don't want like a boyfriend or necessarily, I don't know, I want a partner who's like,
that's what it feels like.
Things. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I'm like, oh, there's a cool thing, a show coming up. Let me call my homeboy. Let me call my partner that I go do fun stuff with and have insane sex with. Yeah, it feels like a partnership. And
That's
it's
really cool.
Really cool.
Going back to what we were talking about earlier, with online dating and like that balance of making your intention known, but like, do you know your intention right away? And can you even, like, sometimes it really is hard to know going in, whether it be to the app or into a new relationship, like exactly what your intention is.
Right.
Like that's hard to pinpoint, and it's hard to find that balance, I think, of being in the moment, but then, also at this age needing to know kind of like what's the outcome here at this point, at this stage in the game, but also not getting too far ahead of ourselves.
Right.
And looking and going way too far down the road, so as not to ruin like what's happening like right now. And I think that's like, and like those, like the apps and like the online dating stuff is a microcosm of what happens then, like once you do actually engage in a relationship. Like, how do I enjoy what's happening right now and not think too hard about the future, but also keep in mind that there is a future and that I am getting older and all of those things.
Right.
It's really hard to balance.
It's a lot fold, you know what I mean? Like,
it is.
And another thing is, as I'm watching this unfolding, I'm so beautifully aware that I've never been in a relationship where I'm awake to it. In that, like, I am going through the feelings of getting to know someone and feeling more and more vulnerable, but having more and more fun and feeling my feelings grow and their feelings grow and getting to know them. Like, it's been really fun to walk this road towards whatever the heck is at the end of it. And I think that's where dating could be more fun, is being in a date. And when you're on a date, like, be on the date. I remember I would go to New York and I swear, like, nobody was on their date. Everyone. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if people were like Tindering while we were on our date. I know that happens. I know that fucking happens. I've probably done it myself. I think I've done it myself. If you're going to date, like wake up to it and like really give people a chance to just present themselves as an individual human being. And for the hour that you get to step into their lives, like, have fun with that. Mm-hmm. Some people's lives aren't worth stepping into. And then, you know what? A lot of people then maybe make your life something worth stepping into when you date too. Yeah. You know, like, know yourself, know what you like to do. Don't wait for somebody else to like be the thing that you're doing. You know, waking up to dating and being a whole person and meeting whole people and giving people time to unfold and become human, I think, is where it's going to change. It's very speedy online, but slowing it down in real life.
Higher consciousness dating, you know, is like, hey, maybe you should start an app called like Whole People Dating.
It's already being started.
Accept yourself as a whole person. It's like, and the quote could be like, you don't need to date because like you already love yourself, but you just like would like to.
You just want to, you just be nice to be having sex. That's what I got to. I'm like, I don't need to date somebody. I like hanging out with myself. I'm not lonely. But like, God, sometimes you just need to have sex, which that's where a lot of people are on the sites too, is like, it's been a while. Yeah. And then you got to be honest about
Well,
that.
I think that Sarah can speak to this. I just feel like, Sarah, you, have had some pretty good experiences, it seems like, in Portland over the last few years of, like, speaking of intentions or different types of relationships. Like, have you found that you've been able to have, you know, like, casual or serious or, like, different types of relationships from the people you've met online?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. My matches were varied. But probably like the best success story is that like I met one of my best friends, like through Tinder, who has introduced me to like what I would call like my tribe of people here who I play like sports with and have been to weddings and go on annual camping trips and things like that, and we're still really good friends.
Wow.
So yeah, I met him on Tinder. So that was probably the best. But yeah, then like there's been some fun hookups too.
I will say this though, Sarah. Remember we were talking
like
about we really wanted, so this is like a new subset of what people want. We wanted like a committed, casual, friends with benefits. Like we were looking for that for a while. Like somebody you could maybe like still date other people, but they were around, they check in, you text with them, you go on dates, you could see shows. It's not there's no obligation. The sex was good, everyone's adult, everyone's safe and communicative, but it's not a boyfriend. Yeah. That was hard to find.
That is
really hard to find.
I don't know why. I feel like that's the perfect situation.
I'm still not.
Because both people have to be in the exact same place. Both people have to want the exact same thing. And if one wants something less or more, it just screws the whole thing up on that angle.
It's too much of a balance. And also then you go, and this is I think where me and Justin, and it happened quickly, but we're like, well, we're having such awesome sex and we have such fun together. Like, why don't we just do it with each other all the time? That's where it got to. Like, I don't know if I could have better sex to this right now. I'll wait until this thing peters out to find out, but I ain't going. I mean, it's just like it keep going up. It's like it's Bitcoin over here.
Yeah.
Wow.
It seems to me like it is always imbalanced. I don't know that relationship actually successfully exists. I've really tried on multiple occasions, and I know other people and other women who have tried. And I think that one person always ends up feeling something more. It's never exactly balanced. Like maybe for a time it is, but not long term. And I think I think it's one of those things that it's like a pipe dream. I think it's a pipe dream. Think like logically you can explain it and make it exist like. Oh, yes, we have these needs and we're going to do it this way. And then like humanity and emotions come in and it just doesn't ever work. It's never worked in my experience.
Yeah. Cause you build a relationship over time. So where it was just like sex and whatever, that's like when you didn't get to know each other. But eventually, somebody, if you hang out with someone long enough and build familiarity and closeness, it will evolve and it will change. Yeah. You could probably get away with a few times of that working out and then shit's going to go south. So that can't be like...
The only time that could ever work out is maybe if you lived in different cities, like, oh, I go to LA 5 times a year and I see this person and, like something like that. But if they're in your life more than 5 or 6 times a year, like if they're in your life and your friend circle, that's not going to work because you're either two people who fully agree that you're having like an open relationship, right? Like you're in a relationship and it's completely open. And even if you do start liking each other, you're still going to see other people, right? Like if you agree that at the beginning, that's different. But if it's just one of those things where like maybe both of you are kind of monogamous, but you don't necessarily want to be with each other. But if you are monogamous at your heart, eventually one of you is going to either start like you said, liking the other person and the other one's pulling away. I don't know.
And that's so wrong these days is to like somebody. Oh God. God forbid you catch feelings and start to want to see someone more often.
Right.
Yeah.
Evil.
That's a bummer. I think that's what a lot of people avoid. And maybe us girls, we kid ourselves and we'll start rounding out here now, but honesty is the best policy with online dating. I know it's hard to pin down an intention or a goal in dating before you've met somebody. Because like you said, it might be your best friend that opens you up to the rest of your life and your other group of friends. It might be your husband. It might be a story. It might be the worst date ever. But until you meet someone and know them, you can't know where it's going to go. Having a small idea is nice. Like some of you people know you're on here, you just want sex. You got a boyfriend, you just want to text somebody, you just want to see how you do, but you don't really want to date. Some of you want to Netflix and chill. You don't want to go hike on the weekends. You just want to lay on the couch and cuddle someone. That's okay. But like, be honest about what you want to do. Even if it's just that's where you first started. It will evolve over time as you online date. I used to keep it on my profile, like what I was looking for. I just took it off. Like, It just changed every week. But at least it changed, and I was aware of that until it got to the point where I finally said, oh, you know what? I actually would like to just date one person and build a relationship and build a sexual relationship and start having really great sex and explore that world. Like, that's where I kind of got to. I was kind of sick of the time that it was taking to go on a lot of first dates, second dates. So.
And you really were. How many dates, Heather, would you say that you went on in that time period, like the last 4 months?
I looked it up, and in the last 4 months, I've been in about 31 dates.
Wow.
31?
No. It went up 28. And only a few of those are repeats. This is what you do. Dude, actually, the dude I'm dating now was the second date in one day.
Awesome.
Really?
And you know what? I've taken people to IKEA. I have errands. You want to go to IKEA? Got shit to do. Let's go. That's actually one of my favorite guys I dated. We went to IKEA. We didn't have a spark, but you know what? That dude was super cool. He's a good friend. You know when you just really want to love someone or like someone because they're just so cool and you just have so much fun with them? That's a trip. That's a trip. Yeah. But yeah, a lot of
Can you imagine though someone saying that to you? Like,
absolutely.
I really, really, really want to like you, but I'm just.
I've had it said to me.
You're just hideous.
No, they weren't even hideous. It's just not there, you know? It's just not there. What is that? This is what I was telling Sarah, this difference between the spark and compatibility and, what's the other one? There's compatibility, there's chemistry, and then I used to think spark and chemistry were the same. I don't think so. Because me and the guy I'm dating have chemistry. We also have compatibility, big time. Like, it's annoying how, like, in sync we are. But what we don't have is the spark, which I had with my longest boyfriend, is this insane gasoline fuego spark, but we were completely incompatible. Down to everything. And we dated for 3 years under that premise. So what is the spark? Wow. I mean, is it also important to have that? I'm starting to think compatibility and chemistry is like the best you could do. I think you only get 2.
I think so too. Or maybe 1.
Or maybe, relationships have been built on none, so 1 would be cool.
Right.
But I don't think that spark is the best one you could choose. I've had
No, I don't either.
You know, I've had spark and chemistry, I've had spark and compatibility, I've had compatibility and chemistry right now, but just spark, I think that is when you bone somebody at a club and you don't see them the next day.
Right.
That's what that is. That's spark.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a quick burning. And it's funny, I actually, the guy I met on OkCupid, who's now my, like, really good friend, which is another great, like, success story. It's one of my closest friends now. But we only had compatibility, which we have, like, crazy compatibility. Like, we can talk for hours. He's smart. He's interesting. You know, I learned things from him. But we didn't have spark or, what was the other one?
Chemistry. Like, romantic chemistry. That, like, ooh.
Well, we kept trying to because we had such high compatibility. We're like, I want to be around you, but why don't we have the other part? So it got frustrating to the point of, like, I still feel this way about him, and I think he does about me sometimes too, is like, I really wish that we could find that, like, find the spark and chemistry because the compatibility is so high. But if you only have compatibility, that's just a long-term friend.
And that's that's who you get stuck in a relationship with. Those are the people that you breadcrumb. Those are the people that you force it.
Yeah.
The compatibility, I feel like, is almost the most dangerous thing.
Were you guys having sex, Amanda?
We were because especially in the beginning a lot more because I guess there was an attraction. That's funny. That's like the other, like, fourth part. Like, there definitely was an attraction between us. And like I said, because there was such a high compatibility, it leaked over into, of course we're going to have sex, but it was, like, not that often and not that good, and ended up just being kind of like a sore subject, I think, more than anything, until I obviously realized, like, this isn't working out. But, that was weird that we did, even though it wasn't, the like chemistry spark wasn't there. And I think we just kept trying, like, both of us, like, maybe if we, over time, or maybe if we, like, just like eventually it's going to get better. But I'm sorry, I'm of the opinion, and this is just me personally, if you're not having at least good sex in the first few months that you're dating someone, I don't think it's just going to like magically get better. I don't think so.
That's when you should be having good sex.
Really
That's when you should be having insane sex before everyone starts getting like, when you start, like, you find your routine, what works for everybody, and you start getting into that group.
I know.
It's crazy. We've been trying to keep it interesting. Honestly, it is work. Like, I hadn't been to a sex store with anyone ever, I don't think. Maybe one time. And we went in there. It was actually very interesting. A lot of couples, a lot of people bebopping in there. I was really proud of couples and humans and singles for, like, taking the time to go explore and get fun stuff.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Did you guys go to that super cool Fancy Pants one in Capitol Hill?
I don't think it was cool. It was also disturbing on a lot of cool levels. The dildo sizes that are there's a cast of those, so they don't just make one. So people are buying those. I've never seen any like a human thigh. Wow. Very interesting. Very interesting.
Are you willing to tell us what you guys got or no?
Yes, actually, we got like a Wii Connect. It's like a cock ring that's vibrating, and you can control it on your phone, how it vibrates and the frequency, and then on the app you can like hang out, like on the app you can video each other and like see them with it on and like control it from afar. And they have a his and a hers one. They have a his and a hers one. So like if you're in two separate places, you both have them and you're just controlling each other's thing. And we got handcuffs, sex dice, lots of lube. These like sex cards, it turned out to be, I feel like they're for like married couples that are trying to like reboot. So they kind of depressed us a little bit. They're like, think back to a time when you were happy. Tell each other. We were like, oh, well, this is weird. And we definitely have two sets of handcuffs because his wrists are like too big for this one. But I went for the furry like cheetah print handcuffs because I'm such a girl, but they don't fit on a dude's thing. So yeah, it's cool. We don't use them all the time because we're having so much fun like with positions and stuff like that. And I'm not gonna lie, mirrors and recording. We've been filming ourselves. I don't know. It's the most narcissistic thing I do.
That's like a huge step,
I feel like I look so hot. Yeah, it's crazy. And you know, it's funny. We started filming ourselves and I was holding the camera, and then for Christmas, my dad gets me a freaking GoPro and a selfie stick. So now we're like now it's happening. I'm gonna edit this shit. I'm ready. I'm coming at you. Hump Festival 2019.
If you guys get a drone, I'm gonna worry about it.
We might get a damn drone at this point.
Dill drone.
Ladies, I just want to round this out. Like, what are your hopes and like your kind of last thoughts about online dating? I feel like we're positive about it. There are some pitfalls, but how do you feel? Sarah, start us off.
I still feel very positively about online dating, even though I haven't engaged in it recently, because like I said, the administrative effort. But no, I think I love that it's there. I love that. Actually, we only talked about Tinder. However, like I know that there are a ton of other options available. Yeah. But I don't know. But I love that it's there. And I don't want any kind of like stigma or like, and I don't think that there is, and I like that that's not been a thing at all, as far as like online dating is widely accepted.
Yeah.
Happy to engage at any point where I feel like I need it. Right now, I feel like, I don't know, I feel pretty happy and satisfied as far as like how I'm meeting people. However, it's good to know that it's there. Amen. Those are my final thoughts.
Love it. Mangy.
Oh, me? I go?
Sorry, Mangy. That's one of my many nicknames for you.
Yeah, mangoes. I feel kind of the same way that Sarah does. Like, I'm definitely not, I'm trying to remember the last time I even did online date. I think it's only when I go to new cities. It's kind of just a way to be like, who's here, who lives here, what's everybody like? You know, that's pretty much the only thing. I did meet, I will say, a really quick story. I met, when I was in Mexico, I kept walking by this, I was in San Cristobal in the south, and I kept walking by this like dance club that was kind of in the center of town, and there was this huge like 6'8" dude, like he was just like so hot, and he had all these tattoos, and I was like, oh my god, that guy is like just so big and so cute. And we kept seeing each other around town, him and his friend walked by me one day when I was just out looking around shopping, and he was just so massive that right when he walked by, I was just like out loud, I was like, Jesus Christ. It was so loud. Wow. So that night I get back to the hostel, and I was like, I gotta open up Tinder to see what's up with Tinder in this area. I open it up, and he's like the first.
Oh my god.
So I was like, okay, I have to swipe this dude. So I swipe him, I match him, and immediately he's like, I've been seeing you around town everywhere.
Oh my god.
And he's like, I heard what you said when me and my friend walked by. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that. And he's like, I thought you were so beautiful. Like, why didn't you come up and talk to me? But what was happening is like I was leaving 2 days later. So we go on this date, and he was like a perfect gentleman. He came to my hostel, which was so awesome because all of the guys that I had come to know over the past few weeks were kind of like in the front area. And this guy walks in to take me on a date, and like all of them were just like, who the fuck was that guy? He's so big. Like,
the alpha.
Turns out this guy used to be a professional luchador wrestler. And his name was like his name was basically like the murderer or something. So yeah, and we go on this date, and it was obvious that like our intentions was to like hook up because I was leaving the next day, but it was so like focused on that, and it was like so yeah, we were attracted to each other, and he took me to this place that overlooked the city. It was really pretty, but then it was like daytime, and I had to go to this thing later that night in like 4 hours. So he's just like, oh, okay, well, we can like start walking to a hotel. And it was so awkward to just be like, now we are going to have sex. Like, it was so awkward. So we're walking on the way there, and I was like, dude, listen, I can't do this. It's like 2 PM. I'm leaving tomorrow. This isn't natural.
Yeah, that's just so weird.
It's like, there's children running around. I don't know. It's just so weird.
That is odd.
All of this is leading me to say that when I was in that city in San Cristobal, some sort of a magical something happened where I was staying at this hostel, and I ended up meeting 3 of like the hottest dudes I've ever met in my life. And one of them I hooked up with, one of them I had sex with, and I hooked up with 2 of them and had sex with one of them. And all of it was because I know. And thank God, universe, because that hasn't happened forever. So, but what I realized through that was that I do best in person. I just do best in person. Like when people meet me and I'm in a good environment and I can make jokes and express myself, I can't communicate that online. So it's just nothing I do or say, or not the way that I write or anything about myself is communicated that way. So I don't really want to online date again because I found that I love meeting people in person. So if I have to, maybe, but I definitely would never seriously be like, okay, I'm going to make a really big profile and like, do it like in that like really specific way. I'm just like really dedicated now to living my life like out in the world in person and meeting people that way.
Right.
And or going to hostels because there's a lot of hot dudes at hostels.
Definitely going to be trying some hostels here and there. It's so funny that you met someone, like saw someone in real life, went on computer life, met them, and then met them in real life. That's crazy. Yeah. That almost never happens.
Yeah, that's what was so funny about that one, right? Yeah, it was like, saw you around town, then we met online, then we met in person. It was just like...
You make a good point, Amanda, because, like you said, Sarah, there's not a stigma about online dating these days. There used to be. But you want to know what? There's still a stigma about meeting the person that you eventually are in a relationship with online. Like, if somebody has this cute couple and they're nice, and like, oh, we met on Tinder, you're like, I don't know. I do it where I'm like, oh, it's a little disappointing. So there's still this, like, dream that I feel like people have, that it'd be so nice to meet the love of your life in a garden, and I dropped a book and he picked it up and he had the same book, all this BS that we're raised.
That's bullshit. That's total bullshit.
Bullshit. Seriously.
That's lies that's to us. I mean, no. Yeah, I think that is. And when people say they met on Tinder, I'm kind of like, go Tinder. It makes me a little bit excited that people are,
like meeting on, like it's working for people. And I think as we start to date in a healthier space, and this is my like send off, because I think online dating has been so much fun, and it really took me changing my attitude, because for a while online dating was a source of major confusion and pain and ill feelings, because I kept telling myself that, and because I was picking people wrong, and I was kind of standing for being mistreated terribly. And dating in Seattle is a little different. There's a lot of gentlemen out here. But I think as we start to date a little better and more consciously and more open and awarely, we'll all start to have more fun. And I think more connections will be made through online dating. And maybe it could be this introduction service where people could meet the partner for their life, or their new friend, or somebody that like opens them up to new experiences. So I see it as being, it's the future of dating. I don't see online dating going anywhere.
Right.
But it'd be really cool if online dating could become more healthy.
That's what I was gonna say. The number one rule for online dating is like, treat it like you would any other form of meeting someone. Treat like you said, treat people like absolute human beings. Even though it feels like a game, and it's you can treat it that way. It's better for you, and you attract the people, like Heather, like you were saying, when you start to take it, even if you're looking for something casual, still take it serious in the sense that these are real people that you're dealing with. This isn't a screen robot, you know? So, I think that for me, I've really upped my like integrity, like I'm not going to ghost people. I'm not going to, pretend like, oh, I just slept with them and I don't know their name anymore. I don't like treating people that way, and I don't like being treated that way, and I don't want to sink to that level, regardless of how I meet anyone.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Right.
it's still, there's still humans behind. I mean, there's bots on there for sure. But if you act human and you act kindly and with integrity, that is what you get back. And I saw it happen. I saw that the better I thought about online dating, the more chance I gave people, the more I opened my horizons, dropped my expectations, the more fun it got. And the last 5 dudes I dated were all great dudes, until I just met one that I really liked, and we had great chemistry and compatibility. And I thought, well, I'd like to get to know this dude. And we kept getting to know each other, which is what turns into a relationship. We didn't stop getting to know each other. So
Right.
High hopes. But it does take a fair amount of like, womaning up, manning up, and being open and honest with people. That's like the first part.
It does. And I think every like honest, like text message or whatever it is that you send, like, that gives like a really good example for them for the next foray, and it's like I think it's appreciated and gives a really, really good example of like how we should be treating each other.
Right. That just makes a better world.
That's what I hope for anyway.
Yeah. That just makes a better world. And that's in any relationship, not just online dating. You know what I mean? And someone was saying, well, I don't want to text them that I don't want to see him again. So they were going to ghost him. Text is better than ghosting. It's better than nothing, man.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything's better than that.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. It doesn't always, what's, one last little thought is, the more honest you are, I think, as adults with someone, when you, like we were saying, when you just don't want to date anyone. There was a guy in Seattle who, like, we had a great phone conversation. He took me on a date. He brought me flowers. He bought everything. It was just, there wasn't any chemistry, and there wasn't any chemistry or compatibility, but he was a very, very nice man. Mm-hmm. And, it sounded cheesy, but I really wanted to tell him that. And so I was like, I'm not going to beat around the bush or text him. I'm going to, he always called me. I'm going to call him.
Yeah. And
I just told him, like, the complete honest truth. I'm like, I think you are a very nice person. I think you know how to date. I think you took me on, like, a really a great date where you planned it and you made sure that you had my input. And so I kind of told him, like, here's all the positive things that went down. Unfortunately, you know, there wasn't a connection, and I wish you, like, really the best in your life. And he was just really happy about that. He's like, I totally understand. Thank you for saying that. You know, I wish you well as, you know, in your life as well. And it was just a really kind of like a beautiful ending, even to just a first date.
Absolutely.
And so the more that you create those type of experiences with people, even if it never works out, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be negative just because it didn't work out. You know, it's just a date. Like, it's just like, do I like you? Do I not?
Feedback?
No? Okay, great.
Like, feedback is a gift. And I think a lot of us want to know when something ghosted, like, what went wrong? Why was I so terrible that you can't even speak to me again? And taking that attitude, that's what it feels like. It's like, I was so fucked up and lame that they can't even with me and had to just go away. And it's nice to hear, like, the good things. And we have to reward these dudes that, like, and these women that are great dates and great people, but you just didn't feel it with them. You know, drop someone, like, brighten someone's day, make yourself feel a little better in the process. You're absolutely right. It's like making it a brighter space brings brighter prospects. And it just makes the whole thing fun again. I don't know if the movies were true in the, like, 50s and 60s sock hop bebop time, but they look like they were having a good old time on Friday night at the drive-in, you know, dancing and twirling in the parking lot.
I know.
This has been so fun. And Sarah, it's nice to have you on here with us, our homegirl.
Thank you guys so much. This is delightful. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll have to do this again. Hell yeah. We're in 3 different places. We got Ecuador, Portland, and Seattle. So this is cool that technology, not just for dating. Also.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
I love it.
I know. I'll have to update you guys as I'm staying here for the next 6 months, like how things go.
Oh my God, I can't wait to hear.
I know. We'll have to see.
Yeah. So tune in to the next episodes because Amanda will be coming at you from Ecuador with some amazing stories. We've got lots of great interviews that you did, Amanda, when you were traveling. So those are coming up as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right, everybody.
Thank you guys for listening. We love you.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, guys. Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Love you.